Howdy, my fellow wooden wotters. Here's a further update on the Gasifier 9000 rebuild. Last time round I showed you the lid and its springy goodness. Now it's time to take a look-see inside this little beastie and see what kinds of goodness may be hidden inside him. She's a bit dark in there, so I'm going to push the darkness away with a photon emitter. What's changed is this little fella. We done got us an air intake. What's unusual about it is that I've added this little fella, which allows access to the bottom of the air intake pipe. Its purpose really is for cleaning out. What you do is you stick a rod down here to clean out the air intake nozzle pipe. Now there's also another idea that I want to try out. Because I haven't added an ignition port to this thing, I'm thinking that maybe, if I'm really lucky, I could suck a flame down this, much in the same way as I do when flame cleaning on the other gasifiers. And the flame might run all the way down that pipe and ignite the charcoals at the bottom of it. I don't know. It's an experimental thing. Now, talking of experimental things, I've added this little thing too. It's a little lever that in this position locks that down shaft, stopping it from unscrewing. And when you open this little lever out, it allows you to move it back and forth or simply unscrew it. What I'm thinking I might try is to incorporate an agitator with the air intake, thereby allowing it to perform a couple of different functions. This little lever performs 2 or 3 different functions, so why not let the air nozzle feed pipe perform a number of functions. Because this can be taken out, it frees this part up to be unscrewed. That at the moment is locked in by way of threads and this locking bolt, so when the bolt's undone this is free to unscrew. At the moment I've got it set up so it's locked up so it can't wriggle wroggle, it can't move this way and that. That's the theory, Mr. McCleary. And of course over here I've got the on-off switch. That's off. This is on, and that's a little bit on, and that's a lot more off. Now it'll be the first time ever that I could stop the gasifier by stopping the airflow on this gasifier, stop the engine that is, as on this gasifier it was so leaky from day one that I never really could stop it. The lid being closed and the valve closed and everything, it would just keep on trucking. Now, I've been getting some good advice too about the potential for this and that to part company, like one of Elon Musk's rockets. Now, because I'm allergic to the explosion radius of angry gasifiers, I decided to follow the advice. And what I did was I got these bolts here, about 8mm, or to use modern measurements, around about 5/16. And what I've done is I've got 1/2-inch steel plate under here that I've put a thread into, tightened these up and welded them into place, thereby serving as captive nuts all the way around. So there are 6 fasteners for the 12 available holes. I'd like to think that 6 fasteners will be enough, and if it blows those up, I do believe it will blow everything else up anyway. To go inside him, I've been making those stainless steel plates that I mentioned in my other video where I showed you that chart. I've decided not to use stainless steel after all and go with wood instead. Figure all I need to do is make a bunch of these, and because the gasifier is powered by wood and this is made of wood, it should be just fine, right? Maybe not. Okay, with that in mind I decided, okay, to begrudgingly go back to stainless steel. Each one of these plates is 1/2 an inch thick. What I have been doing over the previous weekend is milling out the holes. So we got a 2 3/8 inch hole in each one, 60mm in old-fashioned measurements, and we have a ring of holes that coincide. So you got the inner ring that allow me to stack these pretty much in the order you see here with stainless steel bolts. That outer ring of holes allows the assembly to be hung from the bottom of this, where you can see a ring of bolt holes. A bit hard to spot, but they're there, I promise. So this assembly will have a cone on the top standing 5 inches by some 7, I've forgotten, quite a lot of inches across anyway. And that will be sitting on top of that, which will be sitting on top of this, which will of course be bolting the whole jolly thing by way of its outer ring of bolt holes to the base of the gasifier. And this one here will have the other cone facing down into the charcoal pit. And just recently I discovered some lovely stainless steel buckets at the local marine supplies outlet. I forgot to bring one around to show the camera, but it's actually a very solid looking unit, and I'm thinking maybe with a little bit of gentle modification that bucket could become my char grate. You can probably guess how deep the charcoal pit's going to be. 5 inches plus the 2 inches that these make up, plus 5 inches again. That's about 1,000,000 inches, or 12. Yeah, my maths ain't so good today. The machining on these was fun and a half. To be sure I'd get those hole centers exactly right per one, I put these on my CNC machine, and it scratched a circle here and a ring here plus a dot in the middle, so I could center punch each one exactly the same. Now, because this one, being too big for the lathe, was so damn big I couldn't do any of that, I put this on the CNC machine, and it very slowly, using this wood cutting bit, it's a 2-flute standard wood router bit, it cut that. It took 2 hours to get all the way through. What was cool was that while Boise, my CNC machine, was busy making that, I was busy doing all the rest. Milling out these holes, drilling these, center punching and so on, lining everything up, making sure it's okie dokie. Talking of stainless steel, I've been trying to think, and well, nothing happened, but it was worth a try. I've got this little thing. It's a hose barb. It's made of stainless steelies. And the kind of thing I've got in mind is to chuck that into the end of the downpipe there, so as it, because it's unscrewable and screw back onable, can serve as a use-upable nozzle. Bill, a hobby logger, has been giving me some good ideas for his design, and I'll probably start there and then migrate to various designs once I've actually confirmed that this thing actually works. I'd like to think it's going to work, because it is a rather expensive venture, but I think it will pay for itself once I've got this little puppy fired up, so I can save dinosaur squeezings and go back to wood, which is a much more better sort of fuel anyway. So this little thing here has a screw thread on it, which screws onto this adapter. And the adapter is standard mild steel, so I can weld that into the end of the downpipe, thereby allowing this to serve as a nozzle. I could also experiment maybe drilling little holes around it so as to produce a radial airflow thing. Oh, while digging around in my junk pile, I found this. some folks may recognise it as the guts of a gasifier, and that's exactly what it is. I designed this way back in about 2011 when I was messing about with my very first female gasifier. I started looking into this idea, and it was ultimately going to be like this, or the other way around. It probably would work either way, but underneath would have been the charcoal vessel. This of course would be at the bottom of the hopper, charcoal inside, ash all around, much indeed as I'm doing this. So almost exactly the same, but that's going to be shinier. And I was going to have something like this, or something like that. I ended up stopping as I had other things to work on, but it looks like this idea is actually going to come to life in this design. So fingers, legs and eyes crossed, it will actually work. We'll see. So that's how things are at the moment, my good friends. I thank you so much for the great advice I've been getting on my YT channel. These hold downs and the safety they offer, various methods for connecting these, ideas for the nozzle, and of course flashes, information about centering this instead of coming in from the edge and then dog-legging towards the middle. So I'm hoping that with all those lessons chucked into this, it should work like a charm first time round. If it doesn't, I'll just hide all evidence of my failed attempts like I did with the electric bike. Oh, hang on, it didn't fail. But you know what I mean. Okay, my good friends, have you a good one, because I sure plan to. Ciao for now.